Welcome. I'm Gayathri, and I'm passionate about transformative coaching in the realm of life and leadership. My journey towards coaching started with an educational background in psychology and over 20 years of corporate leadership. Today, my commitment to help unlock limitless possibilities within each individual has culminated in the creation of my organization, Realize to Win. As a certified master coach, my philosophy centers around the power of the human mind and its boundless capacity for growth and achievement. My approach is rooted in the belief that with the right mindset, training, and guidance, there's truly no limits to what you can accomplish. My work is just not about reaching goals. It is truly about redefining the very boundaries of potential. Join me every week on my podcast, Catalyze Your Self, where we can dive into mindsets, experiences, and practical steps that will ignite your transformation towards limitless possibilities. I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Catalyze Yourself. I'm your host, Gayathri, and today we will focus on a topic that influences every aspect of our lives: decision making. Every bit of what we give out to our external world is a choice. Some of us are aware of this and mindful of this, and some of us definitely have the opportunity to even recognize this. Making decisions with intention is more than just choosing a path. It is about consciously aligning your choices with your values and embracing the responsibility of those choices and fostering integrity in every aspect of your life. By understanding the different approaches of decision making and overcoming what we know is a paradox of choice, you can make confident, purposeful decisions that truly reflect yourself, your true self. In today's episode 18, Make Your Decisions with Intentions, let's explore this. Let us explore how we make or do not make decisions, the neuroscience behind decision making, and how intentional decision making is so integral for us to live fulfilling lives. Before we go into decision making at all, let us take a moment to acknowledge this. To have choices about anything is a blessing. For some of us, choices are abundant in everything to the point there is a risk of us taking it all for granted. For some of us, choices may not exist in some or many aspects of our lives. It becomes important, therefore, for those of us who do have choices, and when we have choices, to recognize the privilege of it all, and in turn ensure that any decision we make based on these choices are truly made with integrity. And when we speak of making decisions, there are many approaches that we can end up choosing depending on our personality, our preferences, and our authentic self. One of the ways would be analytical decision making, and this involves a complete analysis of all available information and data. People who use this method weighs the pros and cons and considers potential outcomes and then makes the decision based on logic and facts. This approach is very much prevalent in business and academic settings where data-driven decisions become crucial. One point I do want to make here is worrying over or ruminating in or thinking and overthinking the pros and cons of an option and facts do not make you an analytical decision maker. The key here is the consideration of all available information and then making the choice that will be your decision in a very logical way. On the flip side, when we have an intuitive decision maker, this person would rely on gut feelings and instincts. Decisions are made primarily on experiences and emotions and that feeling. This approach is very much common in creative fields and in situations that require quick, on the spot decisions. It is also possible that you're an analytical decision maker, that you've accumulated all the information and then you go with your intuitive final call. So you can have a combination that works very well together. Another way is consultative decision making, and this involves seeking advice and feedback from others before you decide. It combines very much your own personal judgment and gathering external input. The key with this is to ensure diverse perspectives are considered. I had the chance to coach a leader who had the opportunity to include a more consultative approach in his decision making. Let us name him Brad. Brad was a senior manager of a software services company where he was given the lead to make a very crucial decision of a new product line that should whether it should be launched or not. Brad already had validated feedback that indicated that he tended to make decisions in a vacuum. And he also knew that this was a crucial project, not only for the organization, but also for himself, to position him as someone who can grow within the organization. That would mean he needed to completely take the feedback that has been given to him and demonstrate that he can grow from it. Brad and I worked on a consultative strategy that he could execute, and he executed and grew from with great impact. He started by pulling in his core team and all the key functional and cross functional stakeholders and presented the idea, outlined all the potential benefits and challenges that he came up with, and he encouraged an open discussion, inviting all the team members and all the stakeholders to share their thoughts, concerns, and suggestions. Now, I'm not talking about one large room with everybody. He had multiple sessions, some in combination, some individually with the different functions. I'm just summarizing it for us. Some highlighted the potential risks, such as market saturation, high development costs, increased workload for themselves, while others brought up great opportunities for innovation and revenue growth. He also reached out to key clients and conducted market research with existing clients. He asked for the feedback, what they believe is most needed in the market, and how they perceived the proposed product. After gathering all the feedback, he brought his core team together to review and reflect on everything that was received back. With this, it became clear that while the product had significant potential, it needs some adjustments based on the feedback to address the concerns and to truly maximize the market impact. With a comprehensive understanding of the teams, other departments, and customers' perspective, Brad made an informed decision and then to proceed with the product launch, but with some modifications to address the highlighted concerns. Now comes the critical point, communication. Brad communicated his decision to his executive leadership for approval, and he highlighted the impact of the teams and the stakeholders who consulted with him to help reach this final call. Finally, with the approval of his executive team to proceed, Brad communicated again this decision back to everybody who was involved, explaining how their input shaped the final plan. This not only helped him enhance the product's chance for success, but it also built trust and demonstrated his commitment to be an inclusive and thoughtful leader. And finally, we have avoidant decision making. This is very much characterized by hesitation to make decision and even procrastination to make decisions. People delay making decisions in some cases to avoid the responsibility of making that decision, or due to fear of making the wrong choice, or the idea that a better choice is out there somewhere. And all this leads to missed opportunities and, in the end, increased stress. This is where rumination comes in, and this is where worrying comes in, and this is where overthinking comes in, and results with a lack of decision making in a timely way or even happening. Think about someone contemplating a career change, for example. And if they are deeply unhappy with their current job, they keep postponing the decision to make a change or seek out other position. It could be the fear of making the wrong choice and potentially falling into another bad role that's paralyzing them. And it results in this prolonged dissatisfaction and stagnation, and they're staying in that same place that's just keeping them sad and miserable. The fact is, avoiding a decision in itself is a decision. You have decided to avoid it. It's a true paradox. And the results of it are not what has happened to you. The result of avoiding a decision is what you have chosen for you. And this is a fact that's very hard for a lot of people to truly accept, but it is what it is. Speaking of choices, we have to recognize that choice is a paradox. Now, what is a paradox? A paradox is a statement or a situation or something that's happening that's contradicting itself, but may nonetheless be true. It often challenges our expectation and compels us to think more deeply about whatever it is that we are dealing with. That's the inherent nature of a paradox. Now, why are we saying that choice is a paradox? Because it can be two opposite things at the very same time. Having choices can increase our freedom and satisfaction, and at the same time, having too many choices can lead to anxiety, indecision, and dissatisfaction. On the surface, it seems contradictory that more options could make us less happy. However, reality and a lot of study and research show exactly that. And when we authentically self reflect, we can see this paradox is absolutely in play. When the paradox of choice is on the positive side, we typically see decision making strategy called satisficing. And this strategy aims for a satisfactory result versus an ideal one. The term satisficing is a blend of satisfy and suffice. It was introduced by a cognitive scientist, Herbert Simon, to describe a process that seeks a solution that meets minimum criteria or standards. When you satisfies, you set a threshold or a criteria for what you consider to be good enough for an outcome. Once an option meets that threshold, you select it without an exhaustive comparison of all other possibilities. This approach contrasts with maximizing, where the goal is to find the best possible option by considering every available choice and comparing their relative merits. For example, imagine you're looking for a new laptop. Instead of researching every single model on the market, reading all reviews and comparing all specification, you set some basic criteria, a certain price range, necessary features and that like a specific processor speed and memory size, and perhaps good customer reviews. When you find a laptop that meets these criteria, you buy it. And even if there might be a slightly better option available. By doing this, you save time, you have an efficient result, and you reduce the stress of decision making. When the paradox of choice leans over to the negative side, we see a few decision making pitfalls. The first is the acute awareness of too many choices. Many of our societies, not all, but many, we live in offer an abundance of choices, from what to eat to career paths. While options can be empowering, it can also become overwhelming, leading to decision paralysis. The fear of making the wrong choice often stems from the belief that a better option might exist, causing people to avoid making decisions altogether. The fear also where people want to keep their options open might be where they're missing out on something better, fear that they will make the wrong decision. This mindset can prevent a commitment and lead to general dissatisfaction with pretty much all choices, as people constantly start second guessing their own decisions. Now, I brought up maximizing before. Maximizing is a strategy that is truly aimed at selecting the best possible outcome by exhaustively comparing all available choices. Unlike satisficing, which I referred to, which seeks a satisfactory outcome, a good outcome, maximizing strives for the optimal, perfect outcome. The approach involves thorough research, detailed comparisons, extensive evaluation of alternatives to ensure the chosen option is the absolute best. When you maximize, you set out to find the highest quality, most efficient, or the most cost effective solution amongst all possible options. This process typically involves conducting in depth research, comparing as much detail as possible for each option, analyzing pros and cons of each option, and seeking advice or expert options opinion on each option. If we look at the same scenario of buying a laptop, as a maximizer, you would research all available laptop models in the market. You would compare specifications like processor speed, memory, battery life, etc., and brand reputation. You would read numerous reviews and ratings from various sources. You would visit stores and physically check and compare laptops. You would possibly consult with tech experts or friends for recommendations. You would make a detailed pros and cons list for each potential choice. After this exhaustive process, you will select a laptop that stands out as the overall best option according to your criteria. Now, there are some benefits to this, absolutely. You feel satisfied, you have given in to the maximizer in you. You have a high quality decision because you thought through a thorough evaluation process, and there's a very high chance you will not regret your choice later because everything you've done to make this decision. Now, this is where the paradox comes in. You could have negatively impacted others around you who are either involved or impacted by your decision. You could be putting in a significant amount of time and effort, which could be impractical from a cost, resource, time instances in many scenarios. This process can be stressful and overwhelming, particularly when you're faced with numerous options. And the perfectionist nature of aiming for the best can lead to an unrealistic expectation and dissatisfaction, as the perfect option might just not exist. When we look at the brain science of it all, what we find is that several brain regions are involved in decision making, including the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for rational thinking and weighing options, and our limbic system, which processes emotions and rewards. When faced with too many choices, our brains can experience cognitive overload, making it harder to decide. This overload can lead to decision fatigue, where the quality of decisions deteriorates after a long session of decision making. Our brain's reward system, with the neurotransmitters like dopamine, plays a crucial role in decision making. Positive outcomes reinforce certain choices, with negative outcomes can deter us from making those similar choices in the future. So, what does this all tell us? Choice is indeed a paradox, and building an efficient decision making process that aligns with your integrity can keep you in a much healthier place mentally. So, let's discuss why decision making is a crucial part of integrity. What exactly is integrity? Integrity is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. It involves consistently adhering to ethical standards and values, regardless of the circumstances. Integrity means doing the right thing even when no one is watching and maintaining consistency between your words and your actions. And not a thing demonstrates your integrity as loudly as your decisions do. So make them with intention. Making decisions with intention means aligning your choices with your values and principles. This alignment builds consistency in your actions, making you reliable and trustworthy. Intentional decision making involves taking responsibility for your choices and your outcomes. Accountability is a key aspect of integrity, demonstrating your commitment to stand by your decisions. Decisions made with intention truly reflect your true self and beliefs. Authenticity in decision making fosters a sense of self respect and respect from others. And when others see that you make thoughtful, value driven decisions, it builds trust. Trust is foundational to personal and professional relationships, and it enhances your reputation and influence. By understanding and embodying integrity, you're ensuring that your decisions are not only effective, but they're also ethical and aligned with your true self. Integrity truly serves as a foundation for a fulfilling and respectable life, guiding you to make choices that reflect truly your highest principles. In closing, let me highlight a few takeaways. Making decision with intention is more than just choosing a path. It is about consciously aligning your choices with your values, embracing the responsibility of those choices, and fostering integrity in every aspect of your life. Integrity is a cornerstone of effective decision making and a fulfilling life. It involves honesty, adherence to moral principles, consistency, and accountability. By making decisions with integrity, you're building trust to achieve personal satisfaction, enhance your reputation, and become a better leader. As a life and leadership coach, an area that I focus on with my clients for the most is transitioning change and achieving goals through developing a strong sense of self and efficient decision making. If this is an area you're interested in exploring, please connect with me through Instagram or LinkedIn. My socials are always listed in the description of each podcast episode. Thank you for tuning in to Catalyze Yourself. I'm your host, Gayathri, and I want to sign off with a challenge for each of you. Take a moment to reflect on your decisions so far. Will all of those insights you gather tell you something about yourself? And with that, make the decision that going forward, each of you will make intentional decisions and a decision that reflects your authenticity. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone who might benefit from it. Don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts. Until next time, honor your authenticity, make your decision with intention, and always, always live with integrity.